I want to welcome all of you to Trevecca today for a very special press conference. Look around and I see a lot of former athletes and coaches and current athletes and supporters, and it's going to be a remarkable day in our history. And a couple of things that we're going to have happen today. Dr. Boone, our president, is going to come up and speak in just a moment. Just before he speaks, we're going to have a quick video. It'll be about 45 seconds and kind of help introduce us to today. And then following him will be our athletic director, Mark Elliott. Again, thanks for coming.
Developing mind, body, and soul of Christian athletes has always been an integral part of Trevecca Nazarene University. Trevecca has had a great journey, from our basketball games against Vanderbilt and Fisk University in the 1930s to our move to the NCAA in the early 1970s. Our courts and fields have been the setting of many amazing memories, and now we look to the future of Trevecca athletics, and the future looks so promising. Welcome, Trevecca, to the NCAA.
Good afternoon. My name is Dan Boone. I'm president of the university, and I want to welcome you here this afternoon. We're great at choosing a slow sports day to do this, with LeBron choosing to go back to Cleveland and the World Cup in high fashion, but it's a joy for us to be able to have great news on this day too. Trevecca is a Christian university in the heart of Nashville. We've been here for over 100 years. We're very proud for what we've been able to do for the city that we live in and care about. And this city now has a D2 university that has gone through the process. We received the call this past Wednesday from the NCAA Division II that we had crossed the final hurdle into full membership, and we're excited to announce that today. Yes, applause would be good, Don. Thanks. I remember about 4 years ago, I was thinking about our athletic program here at the university, and I called C.M. Newton, who has been a dear friend of this university. He came over, spent some time with our coaches and our athletic department, and we spent a lot of time together. And I remember the day that he said to me, he said, "Dan, what is it you most want for your athletes?" And I said, "C.M., in a world where college athletes have become a business, where even football players are looking at unionizing at the college level. In a world where that kind of thing is happening, I'm most interested that Trevecca athletes have the capacity to have a great formative experience here at Trevecca. I want them to be able to compete for championships, but I also want them to be able to develop holistically, spiritually, mentally, academically, in every way. I want them to have the kind of experience here that will make them our gift to the world as a great student athlete." So I said, "What do we do?" And I remember the day CM said to me, "You're a D2 school and you don't even know it." It was at that moment that we began to make plans to apply for Division II. We were excited to be accepted about 3 years ago. The day after we announced our application, we hired Mark Elliott as our athletic director, and he has given stellar leadership to us across these past 3 years. I wondered how we would compete in Division II. We have about 2 full years under our belt now, and I've watched it. I thought we'd take it on the chin and need to be exceptionally humble for a few years as we began to compete at a different level. Exactly the opposite happened. We found a new home in the GMAC Conference, the Great Midwest Conference, a wonderful new conference, the first of new conferences in Division II in over 20 years. And so in that new conference, we found our home and our place and began to compete, and over the last 2 years have won 14 championships. The first year of competition, we earned the President's Cup, which is the most esteemed cup for an athletic program within the conference. This past year, we were runners-up for the President's Cup in that. And so we have quickly risen to be leaders not only in our conference, but also here within the area for D2 schools. The life in the balance theme of Division II is what hits me. The ability for a student athlete to be able to compete on the field, but also to know that they're surrounded by the kind of mentors and help that enables them to become a great citizen of the world into which they're going to serve. And so we're very proud today to be a full member of NCAA Division II, and we're excited about what lies ahead for us. I do want to recognize that in the room just now is a man rarely mentioned in terms of our athletic programs. Jeff Swink, who works as a mentor in our Center for Life Calling and Service, has been a mentor to our student athletes in the volleyball program, and he has been nominated by our conference for his mentoring leadership in helping students. I sent him an email this morning and told him, years from now, these student athletes will come back for homecoming, and when they do, they're going to ask, where's Jeff Swink? If it hadn't been for him, I would not have been able to have made it through my college experience. And I'm proud for the kind of mentoring capacity that we have at Trevecca to take a student athlete and to help them to be able to succeed as a student here at Trevecca and then to give them away as a gift to the world. It's my privilege now to announce and to present to you the athletic director of Trevecca. Mark Elliott came to us 3 years ago. I knew him by knowing his son first, who played on our college men's basketball team. A young man of great character and quality, and just by watching his son, I knew the kind of home that he had grown up in. This man is a great father. He was a basketball star on the Vanderbilt basketball program for the years that he was there, and has given leadership of character and integrity to our athletic program, and I'm very proud of the work that he has done. And he leads a great team of people on this campus, and we're proud of this day for Trevecca and for the city of Nashville and the Middle Tennessee area. Would you welcome Mark Elliott?
Thank you, Dr. Boone. 3 years ago, I didn't need these. Also, I've never been around someone who's a better extemporaneous speaker. There were no notes. I need notes. I don't want to compete with him on the speaking tour, but I will take you on in a free throw contest. All right? A few prepared comments here. 3 years ago, we began a journey, or as Nick Saban might term it, the process. At the end of this 3 years, simply put, we expected to be here today. In retrospect, the most significant thing that we learned about this process is the decision to go to the NCAA Division II is not solely just an athletic department decision. It's an all-school decision. Yes, the NCAA wants your athletic teams to be competitive, to be good, but how good your teams are is not what moves you through the process. Rather, it takes a university. It starts with presidential involvement, and I will say this, that some of our highest marks from the NCAA throughout the process was for Dr. Boone's leadership. It transcends every department of the university, and it even extends through the greater university community, as you see today. Total support, teamwork, partnership from all these areas are absolutely necessary, or you don't move forward. Folks, people had to change the way they did their jobs here on campus because of the NCAA, but they did so without reluctance because they trusted the process. Because of that support system, I'd like to take a minute to thank several people. Kathy Boer, and now Holly Whitby from the admissions team and enrollment management, because the process through which student athletes are admitted to our university matters to the NCAA. Eddie White and his financial team, because the process through which student athletes are financially aided matters to the NCAA. Becky Neese in the registrar's office, because the process through which they track eligibility and progress towards the degree matters to the NCAA. Greg Runyon, our athletic faculty representative, because the academic experience that our students receive is important to the NCAA. Jamie Crowley, senior women's administrator, because the process of gender equity, diversity, and Title IX is important to the NCAA. And my special thanks to two men who literally put us on their back and trudged us through the mud with leadership, integrity, and vision. Steve Harris, our associate provost and director of student development, and Larry Knight, our director of compliance. Together, these men combined to write almost 3,000 pages of documentation for the NCAA. And finally, to the coaches and athletes. The reason we do what we do. Thank you for your dedication and excuse me, commitment to this school and to the process which we celebrate today. And now we start a new chapter in this book, but that's for a future press conference. Let's open it up for questions. Does anybody have a question they'd like to ask?
Mark, what was the most difficult thing that had to be accomplished
Mindset. I think internally we knew that we had to be good with our teams and good with our structures, but it was mindset. And we could compete at a Division II level. We had to change the way we did things with regards to recruiting, with regards to eligibility, because coming from our past organization to this organization, you just have to have a renewed sense of what you're doing. And so it was mindset.
You took that on the day after the announcement was made. Did you know ahead of time that the move was going to be made? And was that exciting for you, or was it intimidating?
Part of the reason that I was excited even more so about the job than just the university. Absolutely. A move like that. I can tell you this, over 3 years, this is very similar. Jamie, you're involved in a doctoral program. This is like graduate school, wasn't it? It was just a lot like going to graduate school. And when you come out on the other end, you feel like it's a more intense knowledge of the base of what we're supposed to be about. Other questions?
Mark, are you shocked how well your teams competed in those 3 years?
You know, not really. I really wasn't surprised because we have good coaches, we have good athletes, and we have some athletes here who have been here in the past, some athletes that are current, and we'll take our teams, our athletes, our coaches, our facilities, and put them in that D2 setting, and we thought we would do fine. Dr. Boone didn't tell me that he was afraid we would get beat the first couple of years, and I may have been a little naive, but I thought we would do fine. I really did, and so no, I was not surprised. We're invested. Simply put, we're invested. This is not something that we do as recreation. This is something that we're invested in. And Michaela's here, coaches, athletes. They're our kids and they're our best friends. And so I get emotional because we're invested. And when you're invested in something, it means so much more. So we'll continue to be invested when we go forward. And more invested. And we'll get more people and more athletes who are more and more invested.
That's why we love you.
Thank you, buddy. Gary Benat is the reason I got here in the first place. He's the first contact. So you're the one that got me into all this mess, Gary. Others. This is not a mess. I say that jokingly.
How much did this help you guys with recruiting also now?
Well, I think it'd be a great question to ask some of the coaches later. But I can tell you that from a soundbite statement, that blue disc NCAA logo, that means something. So when our coaches can walk into a home or a school and start talking to an athlete and say, we're part of the NCAA Division II, and we're the only school in Middle Tennessee who can say that right now. And I think that means something to them, and I think we're proud of it, and it shows accomplishment and movement forward, just like Trevecca, moving forward academically, moving forward financially, and the athletic department needs to keep pace with that. There's a sense of pride.
Hey, Mark, what's next? I know you've been asked 1,400 times about football, but in addition of other things, hockey, for example, can you talk a little bit about where you're going now?
Schools like ours is enrollment driven, and we will do whatever we can to help the university increase its enrollment when it makes sense. This is the South. Sports are important, and we want to be a part of that, but where it fits with our university is what we have to do. Our main concern for the last 3 years, and we put on hold a lot of dreams, aspirations, visions for things like that, But our main focus was to get through this process because it was intense and it didn't need to be distracted by anything else. That will come later. But we'll start having new visions, writing a new chapter in the book. But like I said, that's for another press conference. Any questions for Dr. Boone? Or I'll take more. I think, Greg, I will let you come back up and talk about where we go from here.
I would want to recognize in the room Dr. Brenda Patterson and Alan Smith right here, two outstanding athletic directors who have given great leadership to our program across the years, and they are here with us today too. This is in the trajectory of a university that has had such a strong athletic program that D2 just seemed to be the right next step for us, and I sure wanted to recognize these two outstanding leaders who are here in the room today too.
We're going to wrap things up now. If you would like to talk to any of the coaches, Mark or Dr. Boone as well, you can. We have several athletes here. Just come and find me. But again, thanks to everyone for coming today, and love seeing all these faces. And if you're wondering who that wonderful voice was on the video, that's him right back there, Toby Williams, Dr. Toby Williams. And he's the guy that got my attention the first time as a freshman here at Trevecca. So thank you all for coming.